Hey guys, Ryan here, bringing on Talk of Commentary. This is gonna be the final match in Group C of the Ro32 of the MSL that I will eventually learn to pronounce. This is gonna be between Fantasy and Kwanro on Odd Eye 2. And we're gonna have Fantasy at the upper left-hand corner as the white Terran, and we're gonna have Kwanro at the bottom right-hand corner as the red Zerg. So Fantasy playing a long, arduous TVT against Mind, half of which I was just confused. Sometimes, especially when your mind's not at full workage, you just kind of, wait a minute, what's happening? Who has the advantage? I don't know. And that's kind of how it was for me. But now we got a TVT, something I'm a lot more familiar with, something I have an easier time casting. Just of all the matchups, TVTs are the ones I have the hardest time with, simply because sometimes I have a hard time telling how much something impacts a match. So, yeah. 50. 51, 52 for syncing purposes. And this is going to be Fantasy beating Kwanro after that first set embarrassment for Fantasy. I sure hope for his sake that he manages to pull himself back together, and at the very least to give Kwanro a good fight this time around. You know, he's not how he is against Zergs, how he was during his Daetoo SL, where he got into the final against Jaden and almost beat him. He really did a lot of very new, interesting builds against Zerg players, played very creatively, went for weird, funky builds that surprised a lot of people, went mech. But Zergs lately have really gotten the hang of mech and really know how to counter it. So, meanwhile, now we're going to see Fantasy start off by put down his supply dip, so assuming he's just going to wall off Kwanro. We're going to go for 12 hatch. It's a two-player map. The distances are so far that generally you'll be in a very good position. A Terran player generally will not go for a bunker rush on this map unless he goes for proxy barracks. I'm going to see Fantasy. Okay, Fantasy thought he was going to put down his barracks. I thought he was already putting that down, but he's just going to go 14 CC on this map. So Fantasy, nice heads-up play from Fantasy. He's reading this of Kwanro is very nice. Kwanro really is a guy who, back in the day, he used to have just unchecked aggression, just 9 pull and go for it, but follow up with other stuff later. But now Kwanro really tends to focus his aggression a little bit more. He tends to try to get a heavy economy early on. So this is a nice read by Fantasy to think, okay, Kwanro's going to try to get a nice economy going so he can pump out an army as quickly as possible. And he's most likely going to go for something alongside what he's been going for all the time. He's going to go for two base Muta. And so he's doing something kind of like what C did. There's a distance between the map, quite a bit of distance. So C went for a very risky build, basically on triathlon against Kwanro, and protected himself against mutas with nothing but turrets on one of his bases. And Fantasy here's not going to need to do that. He's going to be able to get, especially if he goes for 2 barracks fairly quickly, he's going to be able to get his forces up fast enough. Going to be able to get stim in time and medics to support it. Not range. Range most likely will be late, but he'll also be able to get out turrets out there to support his medic marines. So that way he's at the very least going to be in a decent position. Lord for Kwanro not spotting this out. He knows what has that ICV inside of his own base and is going to be forced to take that. I think he has a couple of Zerglings out there by now. Yeah, it does have a couple of Zerglings that he's going to attempt to micro against those. Does have a production hatchery coming up, and the Lair's going to be on the way. And he knows what he's facing, so if he wants to get mutas out there and do some damage, he has to do that right now. He might, with that production hatchery, it means that he's not going to react to this by expanding. You don't really just see Zergs double expand very quickly off the bat against Terran players. And honestly, against what Fantasy's going for here, he could have gone that. He could have tried to pick up an early third, try to compete economically as well. But instead, I think he's just going to try to get some troops out there, try to do some damage to start off. Yeah, they're really letting this mode now stay, this viewing mode stay early on, at a time when there's actually something happening, and, you know, let us get a feel for how these two players work. And I personally find it very entertaining. It's kind of an interesting little FP VOD thing. It's fun to see how quickly these players move, how quickly everything moves around. Okay, I definitely saw a Hydra Den, so switching up. Did see the lair. I was thinking, did not Knight see the lair? We're going to see the extractor come down. Gonna see the Hydra Den, so he's probably gonna switching up the lurkers. On the opposite side, Engineering Bay before Academy. This is Marty's gonna get his turrets out there sooner. It's also gonna help him against the lurkers as well, alongside those column stations will be coming up. But having those weapons one really, it's been something Terran's players have been doing something a little bit late, trying to get the weapons one I think this might be him just rushing for turrets. Not quite sure overall. Is he gonna be able to get the OCV? No, he's nice. Nice block there for Kwanro. Just getting that drone there in time. Not gonna be able to just keeping that drone there. That's very smart. Some players just pull the drone off at the minute they think they have it killed. But nice there. He has his den in a very risky position right on top of that ramp. So OCV just has to barely get up the ramp and spot that. Lure is up for him, so he's going to be able to get his lurker aspect going. Meanwhile, going to move up with some zerglings. He's going to try to just force the front a little bit. On the upside, oh, wow, Fantasy going for 3 very quick barracks. He's adding in comms stations, has Academy up, so he's going to be getting stim. Is getting weapons 1 as well. Is going to be able to pump forces very quickly, very soon. Kwanro on the opposite side has some Hydras going, so he's going to try to go for a bust. I think Hydra, the wing bust very quickly. Kind of what he eventually did against C. Started off with Mutas, but then went for a Hydroling bust with Mutas to support. Scan going off from Fantasy. Don't think it spots the den. Do not think. I think that was a little bit off. I'm not quite sure. I think that was a little bit off to spot the den. The first person view from Fantasy right now would have been awesome. Nice to see, but I'm not sure if he's knows about the den or not. I really don't know. Second scan. Oh, I think that one should have done it. I think that scan should have done it. There is a bunker coming in at the front. So I don't know whether he spotted anything, but I know he knows something coming. No turrets to prepare for mutas out there, interestingly enough. I thought he might have read mutas, but there are going to be 5 lurkers start off the bat with some zerglings to support. Kwanro just pumping zerglings into lurkers right now. Meanwhile, Fantasy going to move out with some medic marines. A couple zerglings there to meet him, but Kwanro almost losing, I think, a few too many. He really needs to. At the moment, just trying to keep those turret troops in place. There are some fire bats out there as well. Turrets coming up alongside. But really, Kwanro has to keep always as many zerglings as he possibly can alive as he streams even more, because you really need to use they're an important part of this lurker force. You want the zerglings to come in, observe some of the early hits, give the lurkers the position. We're going to see how Kwanro managed to do this. He's going to bury in his lurkers. Fantasy moving some of his mid-queens to the right side. I don't think that lurkers got as many kills as they want to, but the real one, they're going to be able to get inside the main. There are a couple of bunkers there. Lurkers are going to just stride right past the bunkers and burrow down those zerglings to defend, though there are turrets there. So that, oh man, nice. Fire Bats is going to be able to fire right from those bunkers at those lurkers. 1 lurker left alive and is very small health. Scan, get picked off. Oh man. Kwanro went in too aggressively, going in past those 2 bunkers. Far too aggressive, far too risky. Man, I don't know if he spotted the turret or not. If he spotted the turret, he definitely should have not gone for that attack. The 1 single turret did not pick that off. So he still has a lot of zerglings, so he's going out there trying to pick it off anything that comes out, but he's not going to be able to go inside and penetrate these bunkers without lurker support, and he's really going to be desperate to try to push this. He's meanwhile going to pick up a base at the upper end and going to try to pick up the double gas and maybe continue taking up, maybe go for early defiler to support these lurkers. I don't know. He has some more Hydralisk moving out. He's probably going to morph from the lurkers as soon as he possibly can. But he really needs to continue going for this push. Yet again, going to try to get us around these mid-range. Nice movement there for Kwanro, though. Getting a decent Shrine on there, picking off some medic marines. Not quite mentioned to pick off the medics as well. Picking off some marines, I'm sorry. Not quite mentioned to pick off the medics. Is waiting on his lurker support. Has 4. Wow, I'm hiding one at those trees. Behind the trees, but gonna have 4 lurkers coming in. Fantasy can add in a 3rd bunker, so he's just gonna defend himself fully right now, just continue pumping these ground troops, and he's gonna be allowed to mine at these 2 bases, just waiting to take up right now, getting his star point. As soon as he has his science out there, he's gonna be able to fight this back very well.